Billy Weaver had travelled all afternoon from London to Bath. He was offered a great business opportunity for someone of his age. He knew a bright future was waiting for him. As Billy walked down the street, he somehow felt drawn toward an unknown destination, but couldn't quite put a finger on the sensation. He had a headache and was beginning to feel tired. Billy must have been walking more than a quarter mile by now. Billy couldn't understand how he had even got here, but it looked like a comfortable lodging, not a fancy hotel. He felt a looming desire to walk right into the house. That must be a good sign, Billy thought. "Please come in," exclaimed the landlady joyfully. They negotiated a fair price for Billy's stay, and talked about his trip as she walked him to his room. Billy asked her if there were any other visitors. She answered, "We have it all to ourselves." The landlady explained that she had always been ready for applicants, but happened to be quite choosy with them. Now and then, however, there would be a perfect applicant asking to stay in her house. "Like you," she said with a warm smile. "Don't forget to jot down your name in the guest book. It's in the lobby," she told him as she left. Christopher Mulholland, 231 Cathedral Road, Cardiff. Gregory W. Temple, 27 Sycamore Drive, Bristol. Those names rang bells. He repeated the names aloud. Such charming boys. Billy told her that those names seemed strangely familiar to him. He asked if perhaps they were famous, maybe cricketers or footballers. She laughed it off and assured Billy that they definitely weren't famous, though they were tall, young and handsome. "Just exactly like you," added the landlady. "This last entry is over 2 years old," wondered Billy. "Yes, indeed, and Christopher Mulholland's is nearly a year before that, more than 3 years ago," answered the landlady. "Come over here now, and sit next to me and warm yourself in front of this lovely fire. Come on, your tea's all ready for you," spoke the landlady. Something was off about the taste of the tea, but he didn't mind. It helped warm him, and that was all he needed for the moment. Mr. Mulholland was a great one for this tea. "Never in my life have I seen anyone drink as much tea as dear, sweet Mr. Mulholland," she said at length. "I suppose he left fairly recently," Billy said. He was still puzzling his head about the two names. He was positive now that he had seen them in the newspaper. In the headlines. "Left?" she asked. "But my dear boy, he never left. He's still here. Mr. Temple is also here. They're on the 3rd floor, both of them together." The landlady went on to talk about how similar her guests looked, and that Billy is more handsome in most ways than both of them. Billy didn't listen and noticed the parrot again. "That parrot," he said at last. "It had me completely fooled when I first saw it. I could have sworn it was alive." "No, no longer," she answered. "It doesn't look in the least bit dead." "Who did it?" Billy wondered. "I did," the landlady replied. "I stuff all my little pets when they pass away. All of them." "You did sign the guest book, didn't you?" she asked, seeming nervous for the first time since Billy had met her. Billy felt nauseous all of a sudden, and simply nodded. "That's good. That way I can remember you," she said, with relief in her voice. "Excuse my asking, but haven't there been any other guests here, except them in the last 2 or 3 years?" Billy asked with all of his power. It was almost as if he had a lump in his throat. "No, my dear," she said. "Only you."